Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Free-Minded Bronies podcast with a late episode on the season finale of season 4. With me tonight is DCP Brony,
Logged in.
Puzzle Brony,
Hello.
Sweetie Bloom,
Hello.
and Whammy Analysis.
Hello.
Alright, so going right into this, and slightly out of my element, unfortunately, life got in the way, so I haven't done this in a while, and laziness too, admittedly. Yeah, I hate to admit it. Anyway, what did you guys think about the episode, Whammy?
Yeah, I liked it. I think it was a good ending for the season 4 as a whole. I'll admit, I think comparatively speaking, I didn't like Tirek as much as I think a lot of other people. I thought him a little bit more boring than some of the other villains, except Sombra. Sombra was still the most boring, but
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, I guess we can go with everyone else.
Alright, Sweetie Bloom?
I thought it was amazing. It was just so epic and awesome, and I just loved it.
Alright. Puzzle?
There are no words. I loved it.
Alright. DCP.
It was great, but there's one thing that's kind of nagging at me, which I'll get to later.
Alright. I obviously loved it as well. So what do you guys want to start out with first? Anything in particular that sticks out in anyone's mind?
Balmagon?
What?
The villain's name. I keep calling him Balmagon because I forget his name. Tirek?
Tirek.
It's kind of like T-Rex, almost. It's hard to say. I always thought it was Tirek or something.
Yeah, now that you brought him up, well, since you brought up the topic, what is your take on Tirek?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, he's different from his original form back in Gen 1, which is not saying much, but the idea of him being a centaur is kind of strange to me, since centaurs aren't usually magical related. They more focus on archery, as far as I can tell. Though if he was a druid, that would... not druid, dryad, I believe they're called, aren't they?
Yeah. As far as
The mythical
centaurs are
creatures of
concerned,
Warcraft.
centaurs usually are known for their foresight and kind of being able to know the future and stuff like that.
I thought that's
Kinda
because I read the
mystic
stars.
more than a magical being. They're kind of like the seer.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because he was obviously there was the whole he didn't foresee his defeat, but that may explain, if they bothered to use any of that, why he's so charismatic. Especially way more charismatic than Discord.
Oh, that was my favorite part of Tirek. It's just the level of charisma he had.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of depictions of the devil in some mediums. Yeah, he could totally kick your ass if he wanted to, but other times he may just want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
I don't know. I actually think Discord and Return of Harmony was more charismatic. The Tirek...
Well, it's a
It's
toss-up.
going to be the odd one out.
Well, I suppose it's
just a personal preference on my part. I think I like the trickster villain more than... Once Tirek got going, he was basically just big, strong. He was no nonsense, so that he has that to his advantage. But that's just, I guess, a little less interesting to me. As a
Holy
villain.
shit, someone really adorable just joined.
Hey, Nixie.
Maybe.
Hello.
I know this guy.
Sorry,
It's my waifu.
I will kill you for him. Or her. Yeah, that's definitely a chick.
That's a
He
dude.
looks hot. Damn, it's a trap.
Anyway,
And that just confused my sexuality again.
yeah. Anyway, back to the episode. It was
But yeah, I didn't think.
Whammy t-
What episode are we talking about?
Twilight's
We're talking
Kingdom.
about Tirek.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think Tirek was bad. I just, as a villain, Discord and Return of Harmony, I just found more.
Well,
Like
can
I
I?
said, like I said, it's just I have a different kind of charisma that I like than.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I explore that a little bit? Is it more rather that, like, if you want to look at the type of charisma they were using, Tirek will use his charisma to levy something that's so very important that it doesn't matter what voice he's speaking to you in, you have to listen to him. Kind of like how when he threatened the fight with Twilight's friends, and like after he was fighting Twilight, and with Discord he was offering him things that he really was looking for. So it's kind of like, but with Discord, it's kind of like he'll hold things in front of you that are complete bullshit, but he can sell it to you in a really good way. Tirek is charismatic in the fact that he's holding real things in front of you.
Well,
And
I
he can still sell it.
thought of, I kind of think of it this way. Tirek was being charismatic because he needed to be.
Well, yeah,
Until-
there's that,
until he had
but
the power.
Yeah, like I
But,
said, he's
you
pretty
know,
no
Discord,
nonsense, so.
Discord, it's his style, it's his preference.
yeah, but here's the thing. I was talking about the different types of charisma, because Discord,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's more Discord style, but yeah, Discord is the kind of guy who will wave total bullshit in front of you most of the time. But Tirek was the kind of guy who would level, like he never. The difference between them is that Discord can lie, but he can lie really well. Tirek never had to lie about anything, for the most part.
Technically, Discord didn't really lie, at least until Keep Calm and Flutter On.
No. Well,
You know, he used half-truths and...
No. The entire scene where they're in the garden is about him fucking with her ideologies.
Yeah,
with
but he never
illusions.
said anything that's
Not
untrue.
lying.
No, but lying may extend to more than that. We're in a world with magic where you can generate illusionary worlds, and he's trying to pass that on as the truth. It's part of
Creating
his charisma.
mirages.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So you might be able to say that philosophically it's still lying.
Yeah, I'm just being technical.
That's fine.
Though in that sense, the world he creates is a fantasy world, so would the lie in the fantasy world be true?
Well, you have to remember the fantasy world just fades away right when he doesn't need it anymore, and then he just lets the damage carry on to the real world by sending the broken person into it.
So, in fact, he's not doing any physical damage to the real world, but
just
he's
lying.
creating something in an alternate world.
In
Just like
this,
Theodora, how he does that. Oh, I finally get that picture now. Okay.
Actually, thinking about it, I think that's the other reason why I like Discord in Return of Harmony as a better villain. Is what exactly was Tirek's goal after he got everything? Kind of
Absorb
like-
magic and keep absorbing magic.
Rule
Well,
Equestria?
Yeah, basically rule Equestria. You know, he would have just sat down on a throne and started ruling, and unless if we hadn't had the rainbow powers show up. That's what I think would have happened.
Yeah, I guess. maybe
Because
that's
you
why.
know who was left?
Zagora?
Scribble,
Oh yeah,
what are
yeah,
you?
zebra.
I keep hearing clicking noises on your end. What is that?
Oh, my mouse.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, I will try to silence it.
Okie doke. What are your while we're speaking to you, what is your opinion on Tirek?
On Tirek, I'll admit that I like the design. I know that it's based off of a Gen 1 villain. However, in terms of his motive, he seemed pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he didn't seem like he had another side to him, kind of like, what was it? Kind of like Sombra. All the villains that we've seen up until now have had somewhat of a, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't want to say human quality, but it's like, it's believable if they could be either benevolent or benign or outright bad.
Well, I think I get what you're
Whereas
saying.
this guy was pretty much all bad.
Well,
Yeah.
the other villains kind of had alternative motives. You know, I mean, Tirek was mainly just power.
Well, except Sombra. Sombra was just like, who ruled the Crystal Empire and
Well,
Crystal.
We don't know anything about
we don't know anything about Sombra, really.
Yeah, his motive, all we can gather from it is Crystal.
Yeah, he just likes
Like
crystals.
the
I don't know.
Crystal
I
Man.
always hear the good theory that he was trying to get into the Empire to cure himself of the curse or something.
That's an
Maybe.
interesting theory, but let's think about
It
that.
worked for about 10 seconds.
Until it killed him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the bad guy from Atlantis.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that movie. I like that movie.
Movie?
Atlantis, the Lost Empire, the villain at the end got hit with a crystal, then it fused with him, and then he blew up.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Disney movie, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what I thought of that scene when Sombra died. But anyway,
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, Sweetie Bloom, what's your thoughts on Tirek?
I definitely like him. He is a combination of a centaur and a minotaur. And the design is cool. It is from G1. He differs from his G1 counterpart slightly in the fact that his G1 counterpart was a lot more menacing. He was kind of like, he reminded me of, if anybody's seen The Black Cauldron, the Horned King.
I recall.
He was very similar to that villain in that, for the
also
most
had
part,
dragons,
he just had a really creepy voice, and he was in the shadow, and he's really
He also
scary.
had dragons, right?
Yes.
It, like some dark magic and turn ponies into dragons. I don't know. Never saw the thing, but I
Yeah.
read up summaries on it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went down. That he was turning the ponies into dragons and stuff. And with his reincarnation, I think that I do like that he is he's a trickster. He can, or not a trickster, but yeah, he's a manipulator if he needs to be. When he doesn't have a lot of power, but then when he's got a lot of power, he's just big and bombastic.
Pragmatic or practical.
Yeah. Yeah, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. I do think it's very interesting.
Yeah. DCP, we're getting a lot of reception on your end.
Are we?
Yeah.
By the way, has that clicking stopped?
Yes, it has.
Okay, good.
I'm still hearing clicking.
Yeah, I hear something.
And it's not as obstructive as it was before.
Okay.
It's fine. Anyway, my opinion on Tirek. I liked him because, as said before, he's a lot more. He's certainly a lot more of a threatening villain, and a villain where. How do I put this? He's different. He's a different kind of threat from Discord, because Discord just seemed like the kind of villain that would just sort of fuck around with you, but Discord just seemed like a guy who was doing what he was. I don't know how to really word this, but hopefully I can get my point across.
Meant to do.
Well, no. Discord is like, I can take his power level seriously, but I can't take
He's doing
him.
stuff for shits and giggles.
Yeah, he's doing it for shits and giggles, so you can't really take him seriously as a villain too much.
Then again, remember the Joker, so...
Yeah. No, well, no, but
I think a villain who's going for shits and giggles is more horrifying than just straightforward ruling the world.
I know what you mean,
Especially
but
if you
there's
have a
something.
very twisted sense of humor.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I do. Like, I haven't seen the movies, but there's something about the Joker I think of as somewhat differently, because the Joker does have something he does take seriously, or so I've been told, and it serves as a motivation for what he does. With not with Batman, with Discord, it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do my random stuff, but again, he kind of has the Gilgamesh problem, as in Gilgamesh from Fate Zero. If he gets too proud and that gets in his way of things, even when he thinks he's totally won it, for instance, and that's one of the reasons why he got turned to stone again by the elements of harmony. But Tirek, though, this guy, he's got all his bases figured out, and he never really falls victim to his pride. Like, he's got all the shit figured out.
Yeah, it wasn't really it was a legitimate loss rather than you messed up.
You messed up, but I'll give you a chance to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, in the case of Queen Chrysalis, Queen Chrysalis is stupid, so they had no problem fixing it.
Well, usually in most stories, a villain is usually meets their downfall not from a direct confrontation, but because of pride or greed or just some
It can.
fault
Like
of their own.
coming out below them.
That's usually what it's like.
It can. I want to say I know an exception to that.
There are exceptions,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
What's his name from Final Fantasy VI does it?
Kafka?
Kafka, yeah. He ends up ruling the world and controlling everything, and then he still loses.
Well, no, I'm saying, the hero is able to find an advantage or something because
On the villain.
because the villain likes flowers or something. I don't know. Just the villain's own personality gives an opportunity for the.
Sometimes it is that. Sometimes sorry. Sometimes it really is becoming the equal of your enemy. Like, if you don't mind me going into mythology for just a moment, one of the there was a story of a hero in Norse mythology called Sigurd the Volsung. And one of his famous feats was slaying the dragon Fafnir. And Sigurd won that fight, and it was, I suppose you might call it a fight, because he was more or less clever. Fafnir, first off, did not know he was coming, and he was assisted by Odin by having him say, dig multiple holes around this area and hide in the ground here. His stomach will be directly above you, and then he shoved the sword Graham right through his left shoulder and into the chest cavity, which ultimately kills the dragon. So there he won because he was clever, I would argue. And then there are people like Gilgamesh who will just fuck your shit up head on.
Mm-hmm.
So did we cover Tirek?
Yeah, we covered Tirek. What should we cover next?
The mega spells.
Well, I wanted to ask about I wanted to ask what everybody thought of the opening song.
Oh, I love the opening song.
I loved it.
It was cool. I mean, it felt cheesy to me at first, just probably because of the
Every song in
three
this show is
princesses
cheesy.
flying around in circles. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
That's
that was
probably
kind of odd. Choreography, admittedly, is kind of meh, whatever.
Yeah, the
Well,
song
yeah,
for me,
but-
it's like the opening part of the song, or the beginning part of the song, I wasn't really feeling it. Like, it wasn't bad, but I wasn't feeling it. It was when all three of them started singing that it really got into motion. And yeah, the choreography was kind of weird, but the song kind of... Well, I wasn't really paying attention to it as much as I was paying attention to the song,
Floating
so...
heads in the clouds.
Yeah, at least.
I just kept thinking, what would this look like if some pony in the streets looked up and saw the princesses flying around in circles around Twilight? You know, that's just...
You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I love the song, but I'm not gonna judge the song via the choreography.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
like,
I know what you mean, but it's still, it probably deserves mentioning that it was really awkward to look at points.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's weird, but it's not something that really hurts the song that much. I mean,
Yeah, it really.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it does, but it's still. I still feel that for completeness, it's still worth noting. Like, yeah, the song did sort of, like, when I was listening to the song, I really didn't mind because it was, like,
especially when the chorus
a good
was
song.
hitting and got all the trumpets. I have a soft spot for trumpets and stuff.
yeah. How do you feel?
I had a soft spot for harmonies, so I was squeeing it when the three princesses sung together.
I liked it because
Yeah.
Luna was actually singing in it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it
Lovely.
because we got to hear Nicole Oliver sing again.
Yes.
Oh yes, that was good. I was about to ask you, Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much just what I said, which is I'm just glad that she was singing.
Yeah.
What is it, like, the one complaint I've heard people is a lot of people think it's a pointless song for some reason, which I don't get.
Well,
Like,
that's what I thought at first. At first, I thought, what does this contribute to the story? And then I realized, you know,
It's her big existential crisis.
it's the princesses comforting Twilight. That's basically what it is.
I mean, like, if there's a song that you'd have to call pointless in the series, the Smile song's probably the most pointless in the series.
And yet it's one of the most loved in the series.
Exactly. Like even now, I would still probably put it as my #1 song in the series, even after this.
Well,
This would
it
probably
didn't
be
have a
the-
point towards the story that it was in. I can see it fitting more easily into a different setting, but you know,
But I think it was like when people say it's pointless, like, oh, this is just reaffirming Twilight's doubts about herself. Well, first off, A, it's not about doubting herself, but B, Smile Song is just, Pinkie Pie likes to make people smile. It's like, you haven't gotten
Yeah.
that by season 2, you might have missed it. But no, but the song's
But the
not.
Smile song is good.
Yeah, it's a good song, but I'm just saying the people who make the pointless point probably love the Smile Song, even if that was probably the most pointless song in the whole series.
Well, if you want to be blunt, then pretty much 99 or at least 90% of the songs in the show can be written out, and it won't do anything to the story. They're there for entertainment value, even if...
And admittedly, I think songs can
Yeah.
oftentimes be better at hitting that emotional impact that you want than just narrative. Because otherwise,
we're
people would
going-
probably be complaining about exposition or whatever. They're
Yeah.
if we really want a good example of a pointless song, I'd say "Hearts as Strong as Horses."
Yeah,
I like that one.
Yeah.
Actually, that
Yeah,
one
because
probably
that
is
didn't
more
contribute
pointless.
to the story at all.
Yeah,
Which is sad because it was actually a fun song.
Yeah, it didn't say, the Smile song said, this is what is important to Pinky. This is,
But I'm just saying, like, since that was by season 2, reaffirming that Pinky likes making ponies smile is probably like a really, really minor thing.
yeah.
But it's
So
beautiful.
I'm not saying it's a bad song.
Yeah, he's made that clear. He's not saying it's a bad song.
We all
He's
agree it's a good song.
I'm just saying that if you want to take points off for something being pointless, that's the song you look at, not this one, which I can point at, because the song, the Prince, whatever the song from the first part was called, the name slipped my mind. Your Time's Coming, whatever it was called.
Yeah, I don't know what it was
Not
called.
about Twilight having doubts about herself. She seems pretty secure at this point. Look, I'm a princess, but I want to do something more than just sitting there waving and, hell, I can't even get a taxi cab.
Well, he just expressed that at the beginning, which is why people said it was a reaffirmation.
But the thing is, at that point, she's telling her friends. Here, she's telling the princesses.
Yeah.
That is and that leads to a whole completely different thing with the princess. There's, like you said, comforting her and reminding her, look, even if you're not doing much right now, you deserve to be here, and your time's gonna come. I mean, I guess they're trying to help ease her into it instead of just like, boom, here's an entire kingdom for you to rule day one. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Cadence probably had some training before.
I think, as far as what you were saying, Puzzle, I think if they had just done the first part, you would have been right that it was like redundancy of she was saying the same thing, but because the princesses then responded and had their own personal rebuttal of that, that's what kind of made it important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Singing Luna.
But
Singing Luna.
I think a lot of people keep forgetting to make sure they're analyzing the interactions and information we get from the perspective of characters.
Yeah.
The Twilight complaining to her friends is different than Twilight complaining about it to the princesses. It can lead to completely different things.
Yeah, you'll probably have a completely different conversation too. Like, for instance, if I have a problem with someone I don't really feel like communicating the problem to, like for instance, I know this from being around with Nick. There are certain things I will talk about with Nick that I wouldn't talk about with, say, my parents.
Which Nick? This Nick?
Yeah, the Nick that's in this call. Yeah, it's kind of like there are certain things I would talk about with him, but not other people, and it would result, if I brought it up, in a completely different conversation that went in a completely different direction if I went with the other person. So I can see the logic behind you can talk to these people, and yeah, maybe some of these people can give you support, but then you talk to, like, an expert, and obviously that gives you a completely different view of the issue.
Yeah.
Because one can give you emotional support, and the other one may give you emotional support depending on your relationship, but at least they'll give you something you can more or less act on, whereas the other guys give you the morale to do it. Even though, again, if you're friends with a guy who's giving it to you, he can give you emotional support as well.
A guy giving it to you.
Oh, yes, it's with you. It's like, yeah, there is emotional support as well as expert support.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever mention I love you before? Because I've always mentioned that before.
Yeah, you mentioned it on a couple of occasions.
Yeah. Love you.
Love you too, Wahoo.
Anyway.
Anyway.
There's something I do want to bring up now, and that's obviously when you look back into the season, we will see issues here that have been present in the season, but there are two things I want to bring up. First one, I just want to mention this because we already kind of went into it. It was Twilight doesn't feel her role is really that successful or important, and again, the most commonly cited example is she couldn't even hail a taxi cab. But the thing I really want to talk about is with Discord, because when you watch this two-parter, and then you go back to Three as a Crowd, you can completely understand why he would be willing to go back on the main six, even if only temporarily, because, let's be honest here, aside from Fluttershy, he's really not friends with any of them, and he did call them out on this in...
none of them even tried.
Yeah, and again, he did call them out on this in Three's a Crowd, which I do like that. Like, if I can praise an episode for anything, it's that. He does call them out on that. Mm-hmm. And that's ample motivation for him being like, okay, well, yeah, I'm kind of friends. I'm friends with one of them, not really on the best terms with the others. So there isn't really much holding them to one position.
Acquaintances are magic.
Acquaintances are only kind of sort of magic, but power on the other hand. There's the magic.
Do we want to go into? I'm sorry. I feel like I interrupted DCP at one point. You wanted to talk about magic or something?
Yeah, how did magic in this episode work? Because I got a theory about how Tirek's magic actually affects the world.
Yeah, he'd kind of be the one in charge of it now, considering the unicorns can raise and lower the heavenly bodies. He obviously is the Earth Pony magic now, and the Pegasi magic now.
But here's the thing about the magic. He says that he and Twilight are in an impasse after absorbing about half the continent, let's say?
I don't know, maybe it was the whole continent. I'm pretty sure it's implied that it's everywhere else except her. Like, she's like the last one standing, at least in Equestria.
Yeah. Because here's how something I've been thinking. Does his magic degrade over time and deplete? And that's why you need Alarcon magic, because it's the largest possible supply that lasts the longest period of time?
No, I don't think
Because how could he just not fight Twilight until she was basically broken on the ground and then take the magic, unless he depletes magic as he uses it?
Well,
Kind of
I
like
don't think
Hannah.
it's that. I think it's more of a Sisyphus endeavor. It's like they're both powerful enough that they can just continue fighting on and on for who knows how long. It's just that it won't mean anything because neither one of them gains enough.
44 minutes.
Neither one of them. Yeah. Plus,
I'm trying to think of the long-scale combat.
It's like neither one of them can really gain an advantage over the other unless one willingly gives it up, because neither is gaining any ground. So it's kind of like if one just gives it willingly, then they got it.
Yes, but Twilight's younger, and Tirek's like 1,000. If he could simply outfight Twilight with his snap leg.
I don't think that really matters in this show.
Unless you're Granny Smith, I don't think age matters that much.
Especially if you're a supernatural centaur being from the pits of Tartarus.
That absorbs all the magic in the
If I
world.
can use the strangest analogy here, I've been able to beat Deathclaws with plasma pistols just by outlasting them in combat. Simply just recharge them Stimpaks and you can beat a better foe, but at the same time they can beat me easily if they can wear me down.
Well, you might do that if that was your only option, but he did have a card to play, and
it's kind of like, why would you
kind of save time?
Yeah, why would you continue on with a pointless fight? And yeah, even if you win that fight, it's still like, okay, you just.
I'm trying to explain why he stopped fighting.
No, I'm explaining it because he's a pragmatist, or at least he has pragmatist elements to him. So it's kind of like,
I have no idea what that word means.
Pragmatist, a combat pragmatist in this sense, because I'm referring to it as combat pragmatism, is he will do. It doesn't matter the means of victory. It just all that matters is that he wins.
Yeah, like
so
I said, he's the most straightforward villain the show's got. He wants power, and he's going to go the quickest and fastest way he can. Fighting Twilight.
Oh, so it's like Soviet Russia in World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus reserves.
We have reserves.
Well,
We'll walk straight through that minefield as though we're not even there because we have reserves. A general really did say that, by the way.
Yeah. So in this case, it was fighting Twilight. Just looked like it was going to be a long, nasty battle, and it's going to destroy half of Equestria. Which, if he wants to rule it,
don't destroy it.
Yeah. So, but it's like, hey, I got these. It's like, hey, I got your friends.
This will be faster.
Like so, and it's like, what are you gonna do once you're taking away your magic because he doesn't know about the box or probably doesn't care. So.
Well, it's a bit like say you're attacked by your enemy and you're both getting into a fist fight, and then you realize I have a firearm. I can end this fight in 2 seconds.
I could also kill him in a fist fight, but...
So it's kind of like, why would I tediously keep punching you with my fist when I can just whip out the pistol and end it in 2 seconds?
It's basically Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that scene with Indiana Jones, the sword dude. Like, originally, here's the funny thing about that scene. Originally, he really was supposed to get into a long fight scene, but Harrison Ford was too exhausted, so as a joke, he just whipped out the pistol and shot him.
Well,
they kept it in the movie.
Well, all of the actors had like some sort of bacterial infection or something that basically.
I think like dysentery or something. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, but they kept it in. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, maybe it's cool to continue on with that fight scene, or maybe you can, but why would you? You can just end it right now.
I mean, because all you'd be giving up is a bunch of worthless captives.
Yeah.
It's like, alright,
Yeah,
they don't mean shit to me now.
Yeah, he had no reason to want the main six himself. They meant nothing to him.
Yeah. So now that we're on that, let's talk about the fight scene.
Oh yeah. I did not expect this at all.
I did not expect this from MLP. Like,
Yeah.
I know some people in the context of MLP because most people, I think the analogy that what's his name, Litterbox Pony said was or something like that. I forget his name. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, and if on the off chance he's watching, but it was like he said that most bronies may watch this as like the show is like anathema, I think was the term he used, and assuming I'm using the correct term, I think what he meant by that was, because, again, I didn't look up the word, I know it's an intellectual sin to go on that, but I think what he means is most, like, men or boys will tend to get into stuff that's really, really dark, so we go to MLP for some lighter key stuff. So when we see fight scenes that are just, like, one move, single stroke, not really that flashy fight scenes, like Celestia versus Chrysalis, for instance, or them fighting changelings in a really fast and measure, it's kind of like, yeah, that's fighting in MLP's case. We didn't expect like an anime-style, no-holds-barreled beatdown with magic nuclear explosions lasting for
Battles.
Yeah, I'm thinking back. Sorry, I'm thinking back to the Canterlot wedding and how epic we thought that changeling battle was.
Yeah, even though
Pinky using, Twilight as a laser gun. That was so top tier for us then.
And don't forget
And then they blew that out of the park.
Yeah.
And I was about to say, don't forget the season's opening where you had the Celestia Luna battle.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like in
Yeah.
season 4 they did get longer. Like there's the Tatzelworm, there's Celestia Luna, but even then, if you were to compare it to say an anime, they really aren't that anything special.
That's like episode 5.
Yeah, they really aren't. Though they really aren't anything special when you compare it to like an anime. I'm sure Whammy knows this very well.
I mean, the whole reason I got it, one of the reasons I think I liked the concept of My Little Pony is because it reminded me of Magical Girl animes that I used to like. It was always into the feelings and the power of friendship and all that.
Yeah, I'm a guy who's
the
into.
show about the girls who get into contracts where they eventually die and turn into giant demonic witches that have to kill each
That's
other.
Madoka Magica.
only some of them.
Oh, different show. Okay.
That's Madoka Magica, which is technically a magical girl, but it's more like a cruel deconstruction of it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
There's nothing really
Awesome
funny about that show.
I think he was thinking of more of the traditional stuff like Sailor Moon and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Card captors.
Alright.
Card
I
captors.
like card captors.
I love card captors.
Card captors too.
I have a dictionary full of all the cards.
I used to have the book with all the cards in it.
So I had that.
Yeah, so yeah, I sometimes this show really is anathema because otherwise I'm like playing Halo, which is really dark, watching like say Fate Zero or Hellsing, which are extremely dark, or on some creepypasta thing, and obviously those are always dark. They're not bad. It's just that sometimes I do like a deviation from that. Yeah. But yeah, this thing, the fight scene here was just like, holy shit. Yeah, especially like, obviously there was the big wham moment where he blows up the tree, which apparently people are petitioning to get back, and no, I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw that. on the
Sure.
website.
So much for the sentimental value learned in trade, Jeff.
Yeah,
I
but
know. That was funny. It almost like made up for Tradia. It's like, well, Twilight had a hoarding problem, but I don't think that's an issue anymore.
There, we fixed it.
Yeah.
fixed it.
Should have traded it to the Philly when you had a chance.
Oh
Then you
yeah,
could have gotten it back.
exactly. If the
I have
mega
this
spell didn't kill it.
broken quill.
Also, hope nobody has any late fees. Actually, no, you're probably good now. It's like,
Yeah. You're good now. Unless she knows you checked out the book and you're like, this book has sentimental value.
It's
back.
the only book left.
That'd actually be kind of sad.
It's
in some
like,
sense.
it's like a children's book. It's like the Hungry Caterpillar. It's the only book that survived.
So a couple of books did survive. You saw them bounce off. That looked pretty unscarred.
Yeah. There's something I do want to bring up here, and that's you know how sometimes we think of Celestia as not really a good planner, but in another sense she's a brilliant planner.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think she just relies on luck.
Well, yeah, most of them do because there always seems to be, how do I put this? It's like she can't solve the problem, and usually, and she needs someone else to help solve the problem, or yeah, dumb luck kicks in, and it's like, oh crap, we luckily had something to solve the problem. I'm not saying it's Deus Ex Machina because I don't. That would be an improper use of it, but it's kind of like a lot of her plans are predicated either on luck or that hopefully someone else will solve the problem because.
Yeah.
She does have moments where it seems like it could work. Like, yeah, she is a benevolent manipulator. Or a rare instance of benevolent manipulator. Obviously, she manipulated Twilight's path to becoming what she is now. But obviously in a benevolent way. But beyond... And when you look back, that seems brilliant. However, when you look at other things like, oh, look, like I know Mr. Enter said this was desperation, but it's kind of like, okay, we got this part down, but we forgot to cover up the glass stained window, or
Shatter it.
or even that, yeah.
I do feel like everyone's making a big fuss about the window, but I'm
yeah,
kind of like, no.
everyone is, though. I do buy. Admittedly,
I
I'll
just feel
take
like it's
back that statement because Mr. Enter did point out desperation, and I can buy that.
Well, that's really
it's not
Celestia in that mirror.
And also, if they
Hasbro made it.
And also, if they broke that window, but none of the others, you would just wonder, okay, why the hell is that window broken?
And even then, the big hitch in her plan was Discord, and basically, like, yeah, we could break that window, or and maybe Discord could still tell him, yeah, or Discord, or if Discord didn't want him to know about Twilight, he could break or shapeshift the window, or he could have, or if the window was broken, he could make it again, he could fix it. So if Discord wanted to screw with them, then Discord was going to screw with them, and no window was going to stop that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Basically, the moment Discord's turned over to Tirek, Celestia and them's like, crap, we're screwed.
Yeah.
So
I did not foresee this.
Yeah, in the long run, the window would have meant nothing. Unless, like I said, unless you're of the theory that, yeah, this was all a really big plot on Discord's part. But I really just don't buy that.
I'd love to buy that, but it requires a very large suspension of disbelief.
How did you guys feel about Discord? Do you think that his change of heart in the middle was believable?
I think it's the first time he's ever felt betrayal.
Well, it's the first time he's ever been broken. Yeah. Like this.
Well, I meant the initial betrayal. When he turns on the ponies.
Well, I think I can believe that.
Because remember when I brought up earlier, Three's a crowd when he seriously didn't really have that much reason. I mean, yeah, he likes Fluttershy, but that's it.
Also,
because he's very aware the others don't like him.
Fluttershy is nice and all, but when you're being offered a chance to basically take over and do whatever the hell you want, which is what Discord's life has been up to
for thousands of years, who knows how long. Yeah, possibly for centuries even. This could have been
possibly he might have been thinking in his mind, okay, I'll work with him long enough to get Celestia out of the way, and then maybe, you could always turn on Tirek, get Fluttershy safe, and so he could still get everything he wanted, just had to work with him. And then Tirek stabs him in the back. So.
Plus, when you think about it, Tirek and him have a history, so they could sort of be friends. So he's trading one friend for another that allows him to do what he wants to be.
And that was the other thing I wanted to point out, is he saw Discord, after the betrayal, really latches on to Tirek as like another friend. I think I mentioned in my review, it's probably his way of trying to rationalize what he did. It's like, in the sense that it's like, okay, I did wrong, but look, I get Tirek here as this awesome friend who understands me as somebody who's got to go out and do this chaos stuff. So it's like, I'm still getting magic and friendship. I just get a friend who's going to let me do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
Something that,
best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Why not have both? Yeah.
Nick, what do you think on this?
I think that you can have your pie and eat it too.
Yeah.
Isn't it saying have a cake and eat it too?
Pie is better.
Pie is always better. Number one rule of pie. Pie is always better. No exceptions.
So.
Yeah. Anything else we want to talk about on this episode?
The house.
The tree? I thought we talked
The new
about.
tree?
Yeah, we talked about the tree.
Oh, you
No,
mean
the
the
new
castle?
tree.
Are you talking about
The
like the
castle
rainbow
thing.
power designs and all that in general?
Mhm.
I mean, that's part of the house. Might as well talk about the rainbow power designs while talking about the house.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Should we talk about Rainbow Power? Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Those designs. Why?
I actually don't mind them.
Yeah, I don't mind the designs, but I do see where people are coming from when they say they don't look good. Like, I don't mind the
Yeah.
colors and everything. It's all a big sort of meh thing to me because some of them really do look really crazy rather than.
I like
Yeah.
Twilight.
Twilight's
Twilight was
good.
okay. I think some of them. I think the issue was for me wasn't so much the color scheme because I guess I'm just. 1 second.
You have a rainbow version of yourself too.
I think the biggest issues are just too much
I'm making one of my own too.
The thing is, it's been built up for so long as something that's going to be this horrible, horrifying, oh, this might destroy everything and with these designs. And when I finally saw them, like, this is what we've been worried about. It's not my reaction to Equestria Girls.
Sorry.
Dude, you're in a fandom where overreacting is the modus operandi.
Yeah.
You have not been in the Fallout fandom.
You've
Okay.
also never been in the furry fandom.
Okay, then fair point.
Anyway, when it comes to the color schemes, while they're not the best things in the world. I don't care so much about the color scheme as it's just everything. I think it's too much. It's like, okay, you've got the manes of many colors. You also have the hoof discoloration. You also have the cutie mark superimposed everywhere, and the glitter and the blush and it's just everything. Everything piled onto one, and then their hair is massive.
Except for Applejack. Applejack's hair. I got the pictures up just so I can look. Applejack doesn't have that much hair. So.
She went bald. The power was too much for her.
It's about twice as big as usual.
I'm kidding.
I think.
But relative to the others.
Yeah, but the others always have.
Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy seem to be the worst off in terms of hair.
Well, I'd say Ashley. I think Rarity is one of the worst.
Oh yeah, because she's got like several cascades of it. Yeah.
Like I should probably ask Nick because believe it or not, in the Rift Cafe, most people will consult him for advice on OC design, and he does have a history of sign design, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your take on this? I'm curious.
Color design is fucking horrible. Because it's just like you just took their regular colors and then you added, I think it was just magenta and yellow. That isn't really rainbow, except for Rainbow's hair. And on top of that, all of the hairstyles. I'm sorry, but the first thing that I thought of was 80s hair.
That seems to be the theme with the rainbow stuff, because isn't the Equestria Girls rainbow rocks looks like pretty
80s style.
Hold on,
I
when did the Midnight Castle movie come out? Gen 1 thing.
In the 80s, I think. I'm not sure.
There we go. That is why. This is the ancient power from the 80s coming
but
back
they were a lot simpler back then. All the ponies were the same.
the rainbow powers had some time to think over.
Communist ponies.
That actually exists. There is a video called Soviet Ponies.
And I do know the Ask Tumblr, that's Comrade Twilight. But
Sorry.
What did you think of the episode, comrade?
Oh, it was good, comrade. Let us sit down and talk about it.
He's funny.
I brought the alcohols. It is vodka. Because I am a stereotype.
While we're speaking of designs, I like the design of Discord's magic when he was getting it consumed.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yes, that was cool.
That was
like
nice.
black and swirly.
Bubbly, and I got my review up with pictures so I can look at this stuff. It's got the green and bubbly and lines and.
Wasn't there plaid in there too?
Kinda.
Thank God,
Not
the
in
plaid.
Thank God. Yeah, I was thinking that. Spaceballs.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of criticisms I've heard about the episode. I think I've heard some people say the rainbow stuff was a Deus Ex Machina, but those people are using the word wrong. So, because something that's been built up since the first episode is not a Deus. How are the hell?
Deus Ex Machina.
Deus.
Thank you.
Deus.
Well,
Deus.
we tend to refer to when we say Deus Ex Machina recently. I think it's usually the powers that we fall back on. You know,
Yeah,
if we
it-
had a magic wand, then that
Still
would
the
be
point.
our Deus Ex Machina.
I think the proper word for that case would be, I don't know, if someone correct me if I'm wrong, contrived. Like I'm not arguing for whether or not they are or not. I'm just arguing
Yeah.
that like what people have been arguing for.
Yeah.
It's
Term-
still not really.
You're right.
Like I said, if it's something that's been built up since the first episode or second episode, I guess technically, then it's not really contrived. It's not really just out of nowhere. You can't. We've known, like we can point, like we've been telling episodes up. This episode's a key episode. This is a key episode.
Yeah, and we could totally tell what the key was, and we totally know, whatever's in
Yeah.
the box is going to solve this problem.
Like
Yeah, someone was mentioning, I forget who it was, but in one of their reviews, they're like, oh my god, the bronies were right. And it was like, we were 100% right. Not even kind of close, but not really. Like, everything we said was right. And it kind of reminded me in that way of the 6th Harry Potter book. In just that Harry was like, he's always like, it's Malfoy, it's Snape, blah, blah, blah. He's always in all the books before that. And then everyone's like, yeah.
Oh.
And then in the 6th one, it's like, oh, it was Malfoy and Snape. Huh.
Imagine that!
Imagine that. So it was almost like a surprise because it wasn't a surprise. I'll be damned. You were on the money.
or chicken, or boneless.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was wondering about that. I was like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
hope
you saw that
Jesus-
Tumblr post, didn't
Yeah.
you? The Tumblr post. Hey, Pinky, how's boneless? ... Shit.
Haha. That got
I can just
spammed
picture
11 page.
pulling out the key and saying, "Here he is." Like nothing's wrong.
He locks
like,
my
here you
front
go.
door now.
What did happen to the keys? Did they just sort of disintegrate?
Yeah.
They're in the castle now.
They're
Yeah,
in the
that they-
box
They're-
still.
They were
somehow.
still in the box, which grew into the castle. So maybe their thrones. I don't know.
Oh god, the thrones.
The thrones are
that
awesome.
thing's-
Game of
No,
Thrones.
no, hear me out if you want to
Nah,
understand why the
it's more-
thrones are bad.
It's more of Knights of the Round Table.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was Knights of the Round Table. It was beautiful.
Knights of the Round.
The
I
first
could
thing I
only
actually
see
thought
one
of was
scene.
Jedi Council. I know it's written Knights of the Round Table, but the first thing I thought of was Jedi Council.
Yeah,
Actually, I guess
those
I would
thrones. And now the box connection. That's worse.
Would you guys consider the castle like a second tree of harmony almost? It's like the box was like a very complicated seed, and then
That's how I saw it to be. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
it-
box needs to act like a seed.
Yeah.
I was about to ask Nick, do you have anything to weigh in on this?
Not really. I'm just kind of sort of looking for.
Zoning out, man.
Kind
just
of that
here.
on top of the fact that I can't really speak that loud because 2 sets of parents are asleep. And I'm actually on the top floor now, so I have to be extra quiet.
Okay.
Actually, I guess since we talked about the castle and all that stuff, I guess we could shift in as to any ideas on what people think Twilight's role in the future is going to be. As this
Holder of the
princess
largest
friendship.
weapon ever constructed.
What was I gonna say? It's well, maybe that area of Equestria, or maybe even Ponyville, becomes like a city-state, or she's given I think it's called a principality, where if your country is ruled by a prince or princess, I think the proper term for it is principality.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's given that within Equestria, even though Equestria itself may be a principality,
Yeah.
since there's
So
no
like
queen.
Scotland.
No, Scotland is an actual country. By the way, never say that in front of a true Scot.
Never.
They will kill you.
Scotland is a big country.
It is
You will
the
never
United-
No,
see
it
that
is.
thing.
Scotland is oh my
Yeah.
god. I apologize to any Scottish people listening in on this.
It is
He lives in Australia if you want to find him. Sorry,
Remember,
man.
Remember, it is the United Kingdoms.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
United Kingdom, but the thing is, yeah, I was going to point this out. The United Kingdom is actually 4 countries
Mhm.
just under the same thing.
Yeah,
Like,
England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland.
yeah, and according to Biter, everyone forgot about Cornwall. No one cares about Cornwall.
Cornwall's a
I
country?
only know him about the American Revolution.
Yeah, then again,
It's kind of like how we forget about Puerto Rico.
yeah.
Or New
It's-
Zealand.
But there's like no, people remember New Zealand.
No,
That's-
it's not New Zealand. The one above us. Fuck. There's literally a string of islands right above.
Tanzania. There's Tanzania below Australia, or to the south of it. I mean,
Somewhere around there.
Above
Yeah.
the Northern Territories is a place which is an independent country.
Everybody knows New Zealand.
Indonesia.
Remember, everybody knows New Zealand because that's where they shot The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings
Yep.
and all that.
Yeah, that's where Mordor is.
Exactly. That's where.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, there's
Anyway, back to Twilight's role.
yeah. So maybe she's given a principality within a principality.
Now, this is one thing that's been up for debate, in the cafe at least. What do you guys think? Do you think they can use the rainbow power again, or do you think it was like a one-time thing?
They seem to indicate at the end that they can summon it at will. The rainbow itself, I don't know about like powering themselves up. At the end, they all just kind of combine, and like the rainbow is shot out of it. So it seems like they can summon it at will.
For now, I'm just going to assume it's going to be the replacement for Elements of Harmony. It would probably be used wherever you would have used those in the past.
Yeah,
That's just what I'm going to assume for now.
I'm gonna assume that too.
But back in my review, when I was talking about Twilight's future roles, I basically didn't care about administration and all that, because I know there's a tendency in the episode titled Twilight's Kingdom, so I can see why the focus would be, okay, what's she going to rule, what she's going to be governing and all that. But I made the argument, I think in my review, that the more important thing, and I think it really fits with her being a princess of friendship, is her more serving as an exemplar, which, if you aren't familiar with that term, that's basically like an example, the model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this case, I'm just to get the kind of the idea across. I used Iskander from Fate Zero.
Yes.
Being
Bro Scander.
yes. And just the quote I got on my review from that is, "A king must be greedier, laugh louder, and be more furious than everyone else. He must exemplify the extreme of all things, including good and evil. That is exactly why his subjects envy and adore him, and why the flame of wanting to be like the king can burn in the hearts of every civilian." And so I agreed that Twilight's role isn't going to maybe be as administration-oriented, but more as serving as an exemplar of friendship. Her and her friends are going to be exemplars of friendship. They're going to go out and like teach people friendship, which is something that the whole arc itself has been kind of leading to, since every episode was them having their beliefs and their element challenged, and then passing it on to someone else, whether it was Coco Pamel or Silver Shill, or technically Pinkie Pie already passed the cheese long ago, but you get the idea. And so, and I think, now one person I think responded to that pointed out that there's also the additional thing that as a princess of friendship puts Twilight in a very good position to be in a diplomatic role, in that she's able to connect and make relations with other people and can serve as a kind of diplomatic mediator sort of thing. So my expectation for Season 5 is the focus is going to be shifting from the group going out and helping others learn about friendship and probably learn stuff themselves, because, you know, everybody's always learning and whatnot. And so I think we'll probably maybe hopefully see more episodes like the key episodes where the focus was on challenging and helping others learn about friendship and the virtues.
Do you think they'll actually be traveling or just staying put while they're teaching these lessons?
Probably a mixture of both. Just based
I mean,
on
we're not gonna have the main six travel all over Equestria.
But they might
just
just
teaching
take a
lessons
brief,
or
but they
staying
might
home.
they might just take a brief vacation to Los Pegasus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's gamble away some of that royal fortune. See
Hey,
if we
Los
get. See if,
Pegasus is I always saw Los Pegasus as L.A.
I saw it as Las Vegas.
Maybe a
But
mixture of both.
Pegasus,
Has it showed up in the
recent-
comics?
Angeles. Yeah, I think actually the media from the show goes both ways, so maybe it's both. Maybe it's both
maybe
the gambling and movie capital of the world.
Yeah, maybe it's just both mixed into one.
I swear it was in the comics, and I think there was like a Hollywood sign in the back.
Yeah, it was a Hollywood sign. Yeah, it was like Los Pegasus as if it was Hollywood.
Yeah.
Alright. Anything else we have to say on the episode?
Or anything.
Other than it was super extreme awesome amazing? No.
Trying to think of any other criticisms I've.
Alright. Nick, puzzle, DCP?
Unless y'all want to talk about the reactions to the episode and flaws in the. I don't know.
Yeah.
My reaction was one of fear at the end.
Why is that?
Are you at all familiar with the ministries from Fallout Equestria?
I'm not.
Well, each of the main 6 is given control of one ministry. And there's actually a scene which is shown in one of the memory orbs, which describes their major meeting place being a room surrounded by chairs with each of their marks on the chairs.
Well, the funny thing is that I don't think the writers are allowed to read fan fiction, so that's a really remarkable coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, it's not their actual cutie marks, it's the mark of each of the ministries. But when I saw that opening shot of just the room with the chairs, I actually backed up a bit.
It's happening. It's happening.
That was my reaction.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's what I was talking about earlier when I said there was something I needed to discuss, but it's not important.
it's fine. I'm certain we have some Fallout Equestria fans in our viewership somewhere. Puzzle, Nick, anything?
Nothing really that I can think of off the top of my head. I
All right.
overall liked it, so...
Nothing more. I just really liked it. I don't think it deserves the negativity that it's been getting. I really liked it.
All right. And with that, I think we should give the outro now. Thank you everybody for watching FMB number 24. Again, sorry it was late. With us tonight was DCP Brony,
Signing out.
Puzzle Brony,
See you later.
Scribble Squabbles,
Hello.
Sweetie Bloom,
Bye.
Whammy,
Good night.
and of course myself. Have a nice night, everybody.